Morning, everyone. Thanks a lot for coming to this quick talk about building LWR sites using Experience Cloud. So, quick introduction. I'm Taha BASRI. I'm a Commerce Cloud technical consultant at Salesforce. I'm also the founder of a very interesting extension. I keep always promoting this at Salesforce. It's called Snippets for VS Code. You may try use it. It's very beneficial for you. And also, I'm an instructor in a cooking guru. So, forward-looking statements. So please don't make any purchase decisions based on this talk. So please rely only on what's generally available. So the agenda for today would be a quick talk about the evolution of Experience Cloud. What is Lightning Web Runtime? We're going to talk about some key concept, which is the enhanced sites and the content platform, and we're going to go through some key feature highlights. So, quick question. In Experience Cloud now, how many Lightning runtimes do we have? 1, 2, 3. More than 3? Okay. So the correct answer, like you guessed, is 2. So currently we are having 3 runtimes, but we do have 2 Lightning runtimes. So starting from 2013, we did have the Visualforce experience, which is based on some standard components, standard Salesforce components, plus some tabs. Starting from 2016, we were introduced with Aura Lightning Runtime, which hosts Aura components plus LWCs, Lightning Web Components. And later on, at 2021, we were introduced with the other Lightning Runtime, which is called Lightning Web Runtime. And this is an LWC-only runtime, so you can't host Aura components within it. So please take consideration here when you're building using the Lightning Web Runtime. So, what is this LWR? So LWR is a framework that leverages other technologies within the Salesforce stack. So we can see that the Lightning Web Runtime is a bunch of components plus application that tries to make Lightning Web components run smoothly and faster at the site of the user. So it leverages, for example, the Salesforce design system, which is our front-end framework for styling. It leverages also the Lightning Web components and something which is called currently the Locker service, so the Lightning Web Security, which uses the Shadow DOM, which is a good name for the web technologies, and the Lightning Data Service. So we can see this from another view. So as you can see in your Experience Cloud, this is an experience page. So these would be your Lightning Web components. And here you can have, for example, your Salesforce design system, your bunch of classes and styling. And under there is our Lightning Web Runtime, which hosts the Lightning Data Service and the Lightning Web Security. So this whole page can be delivered to the user statically, which means that we can cache everything here under the CDN, which is the Content Delivery Network. So it helps with caching for the user. So instead of the user requesting everything from the server, we just give it to a cache, and that cache would be a server near him, geographically speaking. So it reduces the latency of the request. Now the question is, what about the data? What about the records? The records can be served dynamically. And by records, I mean your sales, service, your commerce, whatever records you're having in the Salesforce, the Lightning Web Runtime will serve this statically. And whenever the user will request a new page, these bunch of records will be served dynamically. So this is a quick overview of what's happening at this runtime. So a couple of key metrics regarding the performance. So one factor is that the Lightning Web Runtime is aligned with a concept which is called Jamstack. And Jamstack stands for JavaScript, APIs, and markup. And this is an architectural pattern that's used to in the goal of delivering for the user a much faster and much better front-end experience. And how does LWR align with that is that using this process of CDN, caching the static files through the CDN, and then the user would request them using that cache, this aligns with this Jamstack approach. The second metric or key factor is that in general, Lightning Web Components, the only components we can host in this runtime, run in general much faster than Aura components. And the third factor is that from a performance perspective, sorry, I forgot the third option, so we'll just skip. Regrouping all these key factors would help, like having Lightning Web Runtime up to 3 times faster than its predecessors, Aura and Visualforce. So, let's talk now about enhanced sites and content platform. So, currently what we are having, 2 things. So we have community site, experience site, and we're having a CMS, content management system. So here you have your topics, your news articles, and you are serving them through your site. So currently, current state is that the CMS and site both are living in an independent systems, so one each dependently. The enhanced content and site approach is that both the CMS, which we will call it now enhanced CMS, plus the LWR, the enhanced version of it, both will live under one system. And both will live together and share data smoothly and natively. And this will help with having features exclusive for this approach. For example, site content search, expression-based visibility for components. You can also have partial deployment, and we will see that later on. So, the question now, Taha, you talked about Aura, Visualforce, you talked about LWR and enhanced. So now when I go to Experience Cloud and try to create a new site, how do I tell like when my workspace or my site is even LWR or enhanced? So here it's a bit blurry, but I can describe. When you go to your Digital Experiences app, you can see a badge. It may be visible here. So you may see a badge saying enhanced. So there is a badge with a lightning icon here near your workspace and near your site. And here at the framework column, you would see Lightning Web Runtime, which means that your site would be LWR, plus it would be enhanced if it has the badge enhanced. Same thing you would see in the setup from the all sites under the digital experiences section. And the best and most important place is when you try to create the site first time. So here, when you choose the template, when you try to search for the template, you would see between parentheses LWR and the badge enhanced. Okay? So let's go through some key features, and I would like to do it via a demo and describing at each section what the feature is. Okay. So Maggie is an end user that connects to its mobile phone and opens a link that redirects her to a company called HealthX, a wellness and provider. And the first thing that you will notice at the title bar is that there is no /s now at the URL. So for LWR, we got rid of the /s, and this helps the SEO. So it helps like indexing better our website under the search engine. So Maggie goes there, and the site looks good. It's a mobile-first design. She navigates quickly to search for something. So she will use the new feature, the enhanced site, to look for, let's say, for example, some fitness tracking or some sleep tracking. So she enters the term tracker, and she gets some results, and she opens, for example, the first article, and it will be redirected to a page dedicated for that article, showing some image and saying, hey, we are providing a cutting-edge new fitness tracker. So she is interested now. She goes to the home back and she fills a form, which is the lead form, because she's interested in what this HealthX provides. And now Maggie is a customer, so she logs in and she enters through the HelpX portal, which is the same homepage as we saw before, but now it has a slightly different experience. And let's switch to the web view. As you can see, it's responsive, but now the homepage has additional features for her because now she's a customer and she can do her appointments and she can leverage the products and treatments plans. She goes to our link there saying my account. She open it. She will find the details about her account. She gets a friendly message here saying hi Maggie with a wave emoji, and she may try to update the account using that action there. Also, she can go back to the home page and find all the list of cases here with the status, for example, new or closed, and she can go through the details of each case and check the details of that. And she may have additional actions like, for example, escalate or add a message to the support team. So what's cool about this is that like 96% of this was developed by declarative approach in Experience Builder. So there was no VS Code involved. VS Code was like 4%, 3%, 2%. So most of the work was the Experience Builder. So let's go to our Experience Builder and see how we did build this using the features coming with LWR. And these features are falling under 3 categories mainly. The runtime, which the site lives on, the design time, which is a key concept for developers, meaning how many times you would go to VS Code and develop something custom and then go back and just find it there in the Experience Builder. So the number of times you use just declarative approach instead of programmative approach, that would be better as a design time metric. And the third category is what we love all, the dev experience, how it's improved in LWR. Okay. So first thing is that we already talked about having no/s for better SEO. The second thing, the publishing journey. So this is a key thing to remember is that in LWR, because we are relying on the CDN to cache things, the user won't get the latest definition of your changes. I can explain better, meaning that in Aura, let's say, for example, when the user requests a page, he gets the latest definition of changes from the server because he's always relying on the server. But now in the web runtime, he's relying on a cache mechanism. So for you to introduce new changes, you should go there to that publish button and hit it for every change, even for standard components. So keep note of this, because you would publish new changes to the CDN and the user will get the refreshed version of it. The third thing is that we can leverage the enhanced site content search. So we will be creating a standard page for search, and under that standard page, we will put a results layout component. So that's a component added by a Lightning Web Runtime. It's not the same as the one in Aura. So when you put it there and open the panel, you should see something called source. And here in the source, you can either choose CMS content or a record list. So you may search for CMS content or for a records in your Salesforce. So here, when you preview your site, when you enter a term there, it will look for it in the CMS natively, and it will show you the results natively also. So this is the runtime category. Let's go now to the most interesting one, the design time. So Lightning Web Runtime provides a bunch of components that you may leverage, and these are called the layout component. There is a banner, a card, a list. So a banner is a special component which has regions within it. So now in LWR, you can nest components, which was nothing to do declaratively in Aura. You should have to do with like using code. So now you can just drag something, either a standard or custom component, drop it in the region, and make any changes you want. Second thing is responsive styling. So remember we talked about LWR being a mobile-first design. So here, when you click on a component, for example, the search, as you can see here, you have a style tab that you may set within it the margin and the padding for the components. So here I will slightly adjust the margin for the search components at the desktop view. And when I switch to mobile view, I can set specific margin and padding for that screen size. So no need to do it via CSS. You can just do it declaratively under that property panel. And it shows here the icon for mobile, meaning that these changes you are making are for this screen size. And now when you switch from a desktop to mobile, the search bar is shown responsively. Another cool feature under that same style bar is that when you click on a button, for example, and go to style, you may see a new section called custom CSS. And here you can put your custom CSS declaratively. So no need to create a new component just to bind through it the CSS style. As you can see when you preview, this is a standard component, but you added declaratively some style in there. An additional feature is that if you create an object page, let's say, for example, the account detail, you can add a new component called record detail. And this record detail will serve as the layout page of your record. So it will have all the necessary fields, and it will inherit by default the account detail information. So at any section here in the input, you can use the expression item dot, the field that you want in the account, and it will be bound natively. So here you can just put a record detail and map it to, let's say, for example, here in the title, I may say, hey, Maggie. So I will say hi, and I will use the expression item.name, and it will be bound automatically. No need for LWC. An additional component I may add is the actions bar. So the actions bar leverages the actions that you have in the back office at Salesforce. For example, escalate for the cases, or update contact, or update account. So no need to rework them to be working under Experience Cloud. You can just put the component their actions, click on add action, and look for the standard action. You can add 3, 4, whatever number you want at the actions. So it will be similar to what you are having at the back office, but now it's delivered to the end user. Experience-based visibility. This is an awesome feature. It's, I won't name it alternative, but I would say an enhancement over the audience feature that we had in Aura. So here, when, let's say, for example, when you go to the home page, there is a section called testimonial. So this testimonial section, we want to hide it for logged in user, because a logged in user is already convinced with the service. So no need to see the testimonial anymore. So here, there is a new visibility tab that I can open, and I would click on new visibility rule, and I will add a new rule saying, hey, hide this component. So I would choose hide for any user that is guest field equal to false, which means that this component will be hidden for any logged in users. So when I preview this, the component will disappear on an authenticated experience. Another cool feature is the experience-based variations. Remember this banner changing behavior when we logged in? So I can create now a variation for that banner. No need to create 2 banners, duplicate them, and switch between them depending on the state. I can click on that icon there for variations, create one variation for public guests, and one for the customer experience. And when I create, for example, variation for the customer, I can change whatever I want here. So I will clear this image, fetch a new image that would be more intimate for the logged in user. I may even change a bit the color here because I want to fix the contrast. I don't want it to sound login. I want to say my appointments. I can even change the behavior of the button without creating a new button. It's just another variation. And you control the variation via visibility. So you would say, hey, show this variation when a user is logged in, and show the other one when the user is a guest. So as you can see, any change that you do there is dependent on the variation. Another cool feature is data binding CMS and CRM. And this is one of the best. So here, what I'll do is add a component called repeater, and it serves same as a for each loop. We the developers love for each loop, so I can add a repeater there and say, hey, for each, let's say, case that Maggie has, create for me this component. So this is the repeater, and I will do some adjustments here, and I will grab, let's say, a column, put it here, and do some adjustments, and that column will be repeated as much as I do have some cases for that record. So if I have 3 cases, it will create for me 3 columns. So I'm a bit too quick regarding the recording, but I'll grab now the columns component. Here we go. So that's the column. I put it here, and this column I'll make it 4 sections because I have details, status, and subject. And I will try to add now components there. So add text block, and for each text block, I can bind it to a specific record field. So I would say, for example, for this block that I just added under the subject column, I'll drag it here. I still remember the demo. So here I will choose case dot subject, and it will bind the subject field of the case for each case that I have. So it's a for each case and cases. Too much code here, bear with me. So for each case and cases, put here case.subject, put here case.case number, and put here case.status, and here, behind this, put a button that will redirect to the case detail record. Too much awesomeness declaratively. And finally, a lead form. There is a lead form that you can just drag and drop here, and it will create for you a lead record for guest users. The third category is the dev experience, which has 3 items because we are too much in this fancy world of declarative approach. We can use slots. You create a Lightning Web component, and you put slots there, and it will use the nested capability that I just described before. So this is a slot, and this is a slot, and this is a custom component. So you can just drag your custom components and put it in the slot. So you can have, for example, complicated or complex UIs just by one LWC. You may leverage also the DXP styling hooks. So in your CSS, you can leverage variables that come in directly with your template called DXP. So for example, you can have the color of a component changing declaratively. So here I would say the background is DXP brand, and I would go to theme, and so I would go to theme, go to colors, and here you may see the color brand. It's bluish. You can open it declaratively and change the color, and it will be mapped to that variable in CSS, and it will have effect without going to VS Code and without hard coding the variable. And last but not least, you would have partial deployment. So now you don't need to redeploy the whole experience. You have a new metadata type, which is called digital experience. And when you go to the change set, you can choose, like, for example, deploying only the page record, or only the branding sets, or only the styles. You don't need to override the whole thing. Couple of resources. The second one is the most important. So when you try to do, for example, a migration or trying to go for the LWR, please go ahead and check the LWR template limitations to understand the capabilities currently having, and if your user experience may benefit from LWR yet. The roadmap is very promising, and I encourage you to go over these resources. Thank you. 5 minutes left for questions. Sorry to take you too much. Yes? Sorry. No, it's not anymore. Thank God. So what's cool about partial deployment is that it will serve the DevOps process very good, because now you would have the capability for one developer to change in a particular page in Experience Builder and deploy that single page using a PR and having it promoted to the other environments without need to override in everything. Before, we have, for example, by best practice, one person just playing with the Experience Builder. That's not the case anymore. It's like a component now, so one can touch at a component, the other can touch at another, and partial deployments would ease that. Yeah. No. So deploying the component is not mandatory to hit the publish. So when you go to Experience Builder, you will find the latest changes there. And even at the preview mode, you would see the latest changes there. But when the end user will need to see the changes, you would need to publish to him the changes via the CDN. Yeah. Any other questions? Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a good day.